Okay everybody, it's Todd, All Things Archery and Shooting, and this is part 3 of my review of this Pearson Model 304 3-piece takedown longbow. This is the ranges. How do you think about that range review? The bow is pretty impressive for a bow that's over 60 years old. It shot fairly fast, it was fairly accurate. I mean, it felt good in the hand. There's a few minor things I don't like about the bow, which I'll go over those right now. First, let's talk about what I don't like about the bow. What I don't like about the bow is that I don't like the handle. The handle for me just doesn't fit me right. And I had a real hard time to keep the string from hitting the side of my arm because it's such a straight grip handle. It's not like a pistol grip handle like we're used to, like a low or mid or high grip like I'm used to on my recurves or my newer longbows. It's just strictly a straight grip, just grabbing a straight piece of wood kind of handle. And the way I hold my bow, I just had to really be conscious of how I kept my wrist so that arrow wouldn't slap my arm guard. I never had a problem with string hitting my arm guard on any other bow I shoot, but this one, if I wasn't conscious of what I was doing, the string would constantly hit the arm guard, okay? I think it has to do with the grip. I'm not really I'm used to the grip. I've been shooting this bow for about a week now, and I've tried to like this grip, and I just don't like it. I can't get used to it. It's not a good grip for me, okay? The bow itself, I mean, that's really the only complaint I have about the bow. I mean, there's really no other complaint I can come up with for a 60-year-old bow. I mean, Pearson made some great bows back in the day. So let's talk about what I like about the bow. What I like about the bow is the 3-piece takedown. It comes down in 3 pieces, small. It'll fit into like a backpack or a rucksack pretty well. It's all fiberglass, so it's going to be definitely weather resistant. The weather's not going to affect it in any way. Moisture, heat, nothing like that's going to affect it. I love the grip on it. I mean, the leather feel of the grip, it's old school. I don't like the actual design of the grip. I like the feel of the grip. That makes sense. That old leather, I'm not used to grabbing a bow with a leather grip on it. It's pretty neat. And it's got a little give in the grip too. When you squeeze it, there's an aluminum frame inside that grip, but it's got like the leather's either got a little padding behind or something. It's got a little bit of grip of give to it, okay? And I like the feel of the grip. It's not comfortable to shoot type of grip for me, but I do like the feel of the grip, okay? I also like that you can shoot it from either left side or right side, so it's ambidextrous, all right? So we'll shoot either or, okay? The tips are really cool. I really like these old school looking tips. They're really neat looking, okay? And at first I didn't like the homemade camouflage job, and I did some research, and Pearson, he did camo, but he did like a light green color. This is a homemade job by somebody. And I gotta tell you, I didn't like it at first, but I think it's kind of neat looking, so I do kind of like that, okay? Alright, now let's go through the bow like I do on every other bow I have. We're rated on my 6 criteria that I rate every bow on, okay? That being the quality of the bow, the specifications of the bow, how well it meets factory specs, the shootability of the bow, how well I can pick the bow up and get on target and shoot with it, the speed of the bow, how fast it can cast an arrow, the quietness of the bow, how quiet it is right for the factory nose. There's no string silencing on this bow at all, just how quiet it is, just strung up and shot. And then the value, which overall best of the value of the bow, okay? So first let's talk about the quality of the bow, okay? Well, consider this bow was made in 1955. It's almost 60 years old. Actually over 60. This bow was made in 1955. So that puts the bow, 69, I guess 69 years. So 55, why my math not working today? 1955 to 2005 is 50 years. 2015 is 60 years, 2020 is 65 years, so 66 years, almost 70 years old. This bow's almost 70 years old, so 66 years old. Wow, older than I thought it was. Anyway, it's held up real well. There's no cracks in the glass or no splintering anywhere. It's overall the quality of finish is really nice. I love the leather grip being 67 years old. It's held up really well. The bow was shot. There's a lot of wear and tear on the bow over the rest here, so it was shot quite a bit. But I gotta tell you, this bow, whoever does this glass technology, this fiberglass technology was done, it's really good. This bow held up really well. I don't even see any damage on the ends of the bow where the knocks are at. This thing has been in the woods, and quality bow. I gotta give the quality of this bow for being as old as it is. I gotta give it a 9 because it's still in super condition, being that old. Okay. Let's talk about the specs of the bow. Now, according to the Pearson catalog I downloaded in 1955, this bow is listed in that catalog, and it comes in several weights. It comes in from a low of 35 up to a 65-pound weight. This one is the 50-pound version, okay? It didn't quite hold its full 50 pounds because when I checked it at 28 inches, it came in at 48 pounds, which for a 67-year-old bow, I'm not going to complain too much about that. Losing a couple pounds over that long. Even some of the newer laminated fiberglass bows don't hold their weight that long. This bow did, so I'm sure the bow came out of the factory. It was right on the money. Okay. The bow is 64 inches according to the catalog, and this is true 64-inch AMO bow, and when it's strung up, it comes in at 61 inches. So it's not a long bow, and it's a shorter bow than a long bow. This is a long bow, but it's not like a real awkward bow to shoot. It might be a little difficult to shoot in like a tree stand or a ground blind, but I could probably get away with a tree stand. I'm not sure about a ground blind though, but overall for a 64-inch bow, it's what it's supposed to be. Also, leather grip. It says it came with a leather grip, wrapped leather grip, so that's correct. It meets the point. It's ambidextrous, so I mean it came in pretty well. So we're going to give the specs on it an 8. Okay. The only reason I'm giving it an 8 instead of a 9 is because it did lose a couple pounds based on what it's supposed to have been. All right. Shootability. Now, like I probably should have made this more clear in the past, but I'm making it clear now. I get a lot of comments. How do you shoot so well? How do you shoot this? I mean, I can't shoot that good. I shoot so well. We'll just pick up all these different bows and shoot them. Well, I did a Q&A about this, but I'm going to touch on a little bit here. Before I review these bows, I spend a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks with these bows, shooting them and getting used to how they shoot and how they feel and everything else before I actually do a review on it. The reason being is I think that's the best, fairest way to review these bows, because once I get used to a bow, I can shoot it at my best. Whenever I pick the bows up, I don't shoot that well, trust me. I mean, I give you that. When I first picked this bow up, I could barely get it on the target. I had to get used to the way the grip was and the way it shot. And I was finally able to get a shooting technique style down and work with this bow, and now I'm able to shoot sub 3-inch groups at 20 yards. But that's because I have been shooting this bow for the last few weeks, and I put a lot of arrows through it. So I do that on all my bows. So shootability of this bow, when I first picked it up, it took a little while to get used to it. Quite a long learning curve for me. I'm not used to shooting this type of bow. It took me several days before I was able to get any kind of grouping with this bow, mostly because I wasn't used to shooting it, and I had the brace height wrong, and there's a couple other things. Once I got it down, it was able to shoot real well. So now for the shootability of this bow, I'm going to go ahead and rate it probably a 7 for the shootability of the bow. It's just not very friendly shooting, but once you get used to it, you can shoot it accurately and very well. Okay, so shootability. Okay. Also, the bow doesn't have any with the heavier arrows, the heavy wood arrows. It has very little hand shock and very little string vibration. So that's another big plus on it. So I mean, for an all fiberglass bow, longbow, I mean, if it's 67 years old, I think that's pretty good. So we'll give it a 7 for shootability. Okay. But if you do get one of these bows, just keep in mind, it's not like shooting your newer technology recurve or longbows that are center shot or 8x4 center. These bows, they have a little bit of learning curve to them. You have to get into them and get learning. This is like shooting just like a straight longbow stick bow, because you have to shoot around the rest on this bow. Okay, it's not a straight shoot through. And another thing, I don't have the proper arrows for this bow. If I did, I'd probably shoot a lot better. This bow, I'm shooting 50 to 55 pound spine arrows in, because it's 51 pounds at my draw length. But because it's a shoot around bow, you have to actually shoot around the riser of this bow. You probably need to go with a lighter weight arrow, probably around a 40 to 45, or maybe a 45 to 50, but probably a 40 to 45 would be the right spine for this bow. Okay. All right. Enough of that. Speed of the bow. I got to tell you, for a bow that's 67 years old, shooting almost a 700 grain arrow at average 155 feet per second, that's pretty impressive. Okay. I mean, my Kodiak Magnum, it's a 1974 that I did a review on, that's shooting those same arrows at about 160 feet per second. This bow's only 5 feet per second slower than that bow. So, I mean, for a bow that does that, that's pretty impressive. And with the lighter weight arrows, the 10 grains per pound of draw weight, those things were shooting, 165 feet per second, 161 feet per second, something like that. There'll be a card in part 2 of the video. You can see I got the averages there. But for speed of bow, for an older bow, it's pretty impressive. So let's go and give the speed of this bow. I mean, it's not the fastest bow by no means for a longbow. I mean, I got a lot of faster longbows I've shot that I've shot with this, but it is fairly quick for an older bow. So let's give it a 7 on speed. Quietness of the bow. Well, when shooting lightweight arrows, it's not quiet at all. It's very loud, actually. So if you're shooting the heavier weight arrows, like 12, 13 grains per pound of draw weight, the bow is extremely quiet. It is really super quiet. So I'm going to base it on those. That's what I'll be shooting out of this. So for quietness, we're going to give the bow also a 7, okay? It's still a little bit loud, but I think with some string silencers on there, it'd probably quiet it right down. and get rid of some of that string vibrations you have right there, which all longbows have that little string vibration like that, okay? Now we're down to the value of the bow. The value of this bow, I have to say, for a bow that's made in 1955 and you're still able to pick it up for reasonably cost, I think I paid less than $50 for this bow plus shipping. I probably got all in. I have $80 in this bow with shipping and everything. I mean, for a bow that you can get for less than $100, that's built as good as this bow is, I mean, the value is definitely there, especially a bow as old as this, and it's still able to shoot. I bet this bow could keep up with some of the newer bows out there too, all right? So it does hold its value relative. Back in the day, people built stuff to last. It ain't like nowadays, it's like a throwaway economy we have now, which I don't understand. They buy stuff, and then after a couple of years, you got to buy them because it's no good. These bows were built to last back in the day. Ben Pearson, Fred Bear, Howard Hill, York Archery, Eagle, Indian Archery, all those older school bow makers, they built bows to last, and they do last. They shoot, I mean, there's a lot of bows out there on the market that are 50, 60, 70 years old from those manufacturers that are still being used to hunt deer in the woods today and shoot with today. So these older bows always inspire me. I always get a big grin on my face because of the value there. Nothing like the newer bows made nowadays. So for value, I'm going to give it a solid 8, okay? All right, so that gives us a total now. Compare, let's see. That gives us a 46 out of 60. Now remember, I base these on 6 criteria, and each one's worth 10 points, 1 to 10. And being 46 out of 60, this puts it right in the middle of the pack of all the bows I've tested, so good value for your money. So if you get a chance, pick up one of these bows here. I think you'll enjoy it. It shoots really well, so I think I might do some, maybe I'll put some arrows together, do some more tuning of arrows to make it a little better shooting with this bow. But I am pretty impressed with this 3-piece takedown Ben Pearson bow. I've always liked Ben Pearson products. They've always been good products. So, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please click that subscription button and click that like button next to it. Also, click that bell notification to notify you of upcoming videos I have. And one more thing I want to say, I want to thank everybody for their support. I am almost at 5,000 subscribers. That's a huge thing for me. I mean, really big. So I want to thank everybody for that, and I'm looking forward to hitting that 5K mark. And I might have something in the next couple of videos coming up to celebrate that 5K threshold that I'm going to make out there. So be sure to look for that. Okay? All right, guys. Again, it's been Todd, All Things Archery and Shooting. I want to thank you for watching. Until next time, y'all. Ciao.